You know when they remake a game and they add things, but sometimes you're not 100% sure what the changes are? Well, this video is going to cover the changes of all the Persona 3 remakes, that being Persona 3 Fez and Portable. And again, there wasn't actually much changes between the original and Fez, but to be fair, it came out like a year after the original, so it's kind of understandable why there wouldn't be too much changes. But in the case of Fez to Portable, there was quite a handful. So in this case, I'll just be talking about all the changes from the original to Fez, and then from Fez to Portable, because that just makes more sense in my opinion. But now let's get on to the video. Obviously, one of the biggest changes to Fez was the addition of a new mode, that being the answer. And in this case, it's an epilogue to the main story, and oddly, it's actually only available in hard mode. So if you don't like hard mode, then you might as well watch this on YouTube. But let's get on to the other parts. And obviously, apparently, this mode takes about 30 hours, and this lets you play the game as Aegis, and obviously it shows off a new character, that being Matis, which is another robot chick. So Now let's go on to like the actual main story. There have been new personas added, that being from 145 personas to 170. Obviously, I don't know which exact ones were added, but that's apparently what I found. There's also some new secret videos of the protagonist's friends just having some fun memories inside the domes and such. And also, speaking of your friends, you can actually take Kuromaro on walks now, which you couldn't do in the original, so I guess that's nice. Again, continue on the trend of friends. Some social links have been changed and are added. For example, I think Takana's times have been changed, and also Aegis is now a social link in this game. Where her tarot card, I think, was the Aeon card, so that's something new. There are also some new quests in this game. One of them being getting all the future skills and getting certain items from your party members on certain days. Another small addition is the added costumes, like for example the high card armor and some other smaller ones, which can look nice if you get them. There were also some events changed for Shidori, one of the antagonists, and if you don't want spoilers for this, you can just skip over it just a little bit. But in this case, she actually can be revived after you kill her at like one of the full moon fights, and this is if you talk to Junpei on certain dates, and those dates being the 6th, the 11th, the 14th, and the 20th. I'm pretty sure it's after the fight, so you can clearly pick the month of whenever the fight is, because I don't remember. This was also expanded in Fez and also kept in Portable. Of course, I ain't going over more details, just if you guys want to know, go read it up or go play the game or whatever. And the shrine was also changed to where now you can also make a prayer. Also now the fortunes let you improve your social links, but there was another shrine in the game. The shrine being the Anari Sushi Prayer Shrine, and this can actually affect different parts of Taurus, that being the money, better item drops, fusion stuff, and a bunch of other things. But you can also take junk items from the protagonist for better ones, and you can exchange it for that stuff. Now, the big final change from the original to Fez was the addition of a hard mode. All this really changes is making the enemy damage higher and the chances of getting a player advantage a little bit lower, but again, that's all the changes from the original Fez. Now, also something that isn't related to the game but kind of is the box of the game. And no, I only will mention the North American. He was like the original, and now here's Fez. And yeah, these box arts are shit, but that'll be a topic for a different video. But again, all final changes from this. Now we move on to changes from Persona 3 Fez to Portable, and there's going to be a bunch for this, because a lot of the stuff they added was it's just a lot of changes. First off, the biggest change, and change probably most Persona fans would know, is the female route. The small changes here were some social link stuff, which I'll go a little bit later. A slightly more feminine Orpheus, and a different velvet room attendant, that being Theo. Obviously, you can actually pick between Theo and Elizabeth a little bit like near the start of the game, but that's just a small change. There's also a special mode, that being called the Vision Quest. This lets you fight stronger versions of the full moon boss, except for the magician one, since I think that was just the first boss and it doesn't really matter that much. Also, as a added bonus, you can fight Margaret, and this being the Persona 4 assistant. Another nice touch was you being able to pick who you can spend the last moments of the game with, but this being only in the New Game Plus save. But the player can pick any members of C's, but only if they have the social links maxed out or are romantically involved with one of them. Each of them have 4 different routes, that being For the male, the noble egg as well, and then the other three being Yukari, Fuka, and Mitsu. And for the female route, that being Akihiko, Shinjiro, and Ken. And for Shinji, that's if he got saved earlier on. But before I move on, I'll just talk about the changed social links in the female route, and those being the Magician, Chariot, Strength, Hermit, Fortune, Justice, Star, and Moon. From first to last, these people are Junpei, Ryu, Kuramaru, Sayori, Ryuji, I don't know, Ken, Akihiko, and Shinji. Now let's get into the world of Persona 3, and instead of walking everywhere like in the original and Fez, this game is actually menu based. For example, like you just instead of instead of walking everywhere, you just scroll your cursor throughout everywhere, and everything is just in 2D. But this actually still retains the visual novel feel of the Persona games. And all overworld characters are rendered in sprites instead of 3D models, because it's PSP. So there were also some additional save points that were added, that being the deaths at school. And in addition to some overworld changes, places can increase. There are some places that can increase your social skills, like your courage and other stuff like that, and now offer a part-time job in that case. For example, you can go to the I think the coffee place, and then there was the place that's right beside it. You can also get some money from this, which honestly is kind of nice, and it can also boost up your conditional status as if you go there in as a customer. Also, the police station is the only place where you can buy and sell. The pharmacy is only a buy-only store, and the B Blue V is only a part-time job / hangout spot to improve your condition. So that's all the shop changes in this game. Now we move on to the battle changes / additions, and first off, there are actually two new modes in this game, those being Beginner and Maniac. Beginner mode lowers enemy damage and gives you 30 Plunder Dust, which are basically items that will revive you after you die, and the changes with Maniac is that enemies deal 2 times more damage compared to normal, and there's a higher chance of enemy advantage, and certain weapon fusions cannot be performed in this game. The last change is when you do a new cycle, like a New Game Plus, on any other level to Maniac, nothing will carry over, so that kind of sucks. But now there are also some really useful changes in the fact that you can actually control your party members in this game. And also the wait command has been changed to the defense command, and these two again are really useful just because now you don't have to count on the AI doing stuff, and also with the defense command you can lower the damage for one turn, and in that turn that you're defending you won't get knocked down by anything, so again really useful. Also a really good change, but I think you can argue whether it's really good or really bad, but you actually now don't spend a turn getting up after you get knocked down. For example, the closest thing I can think of is how in Gen 1 Pokemon, when you fall asleep, how you have to spend a turn waking up. Now, again, in this case, you don't do that in Portable, so again, really good. Oh, really bad depending on how you look at it, but, it's a change at least. Now moving on to the fusion skills, they were only mildly changed, but in Portable, instead of actually being skills you can select on the persona, they will now turn into cards, and then you can use them as an item instead of using them as a normal skill. It only activates when you have both personas in the party, like for example again Orpheus and the ice one. I don't remember how to spell its name, or not spell but say its name, but you would have to get those two in your party, and then boom, you have the skill cards. So that's nice. I guess you don't have to waste SP in this case, but yeah, whatever. Now moving on to some small tolerance changes, one of them being that when you go back to the entrance, you don't automatically heal to full health, you gotta pay some money to do that. And also, it automatically resets the last floor you got to, like for example, if you last got to floor 62, then you can automatically go back straight to 62 and not go back to the last floor boss or whatever. And also, the title status is no longer afflicted by exploration, which is kinda good. Now moving on to personas and skill cards, and to start off with the personas, there were actually 4 new personas added from Persona 4, and those being Tamlin, Neko Shogun, McCoy, and Setanaya. And note, all these personas had their levels adjusted, and they were kind of changed from Persona 4 to fit into Persona 3 Portable. Onto the skill cards, now they actually have a somewhat good addition in which when a persona hits a certain level, you can actually get a skill card. For example, if you level up Orpheus enough, he will give you a skill card for Aggie that you can use on any persona that you want. You can also get them from various places, like for example, you can get from the Shinsho Antique Shop by trading gems, from the Jackanet also from completing requests, and also getting 470 exams. And then the last thing is by finding stolen people in Tartarus and completing the police requests. Also, any skill can be learned through skill cards except for the list on screen that I'm going to show right now. But again, I don't want to say this just because it would be a little bit too long, but you can just pause and read it if you want. Now I'm going to go over some changes to the protagonist and some skill changes. In Portable, the protagonist can only use swords, unlike in Fez and the original where he can use any type of weapon he wants. And the female protagonist only can use nagatanas, which is a spear-like weapon. And then for the skills, all the skills that had the master suffix, like for example Fist Master, all go under one name, and that being Weapons Master. There's also a new skill called Magic Skill Up, which is a new one that was added and can only be used by Messiah, and obviously it just levels up, it just makes all magic types strong, including Megalodon skill. I think the last big change to Portable was that there was some new music tracks that were added for the female path. Again, not going over all of them, you can pause here if you want to look at them. So that's all the changes in all three of the Persona 3 variants, and I honestly like the Persona 3 Fez the most out of the three, just because whatever gameplay changes Persona 3 Portable had were just gameplay and small quality changes, and I also do like the 3D graphics of Fez a little bit better considering it was on the PS2 over the PSP. But again, Portable is still a very solid choice for Persona 3. That is depending on which platform you want to play on. I just like playing on the PS2, but that's all up to choice on whatever version you want to play. And I just want to say thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys later.